Welcome to Something to Talk About. Welcome to Something to Talk About from the Bainbridge Island Senior Community Center. I'm Reed Price. Today is the day of the month that we get to check in with the Bainbridge Island Photo Club, and they have just completed their annual, well, maybe not just, but their annual 4th of July People's Choice Awards, which allows folks to vote on their favorite photos. And there are some lovely photos this year. I think it was probably very hard to come up with a
Yeah.
People's Choice. Before we get to that, though, I want to thank Fieldstone Communities of Bainbridge Island for sponsoring Something to Talk About. Fieldstone operates out of Rolling Bay around the corner from Bay Hay and Feed. Beautiful campus up there. You can check it out. They'll be happy to treat you to a lunch or dinner. If you go out for a tour, you can see what they have to offer. They have assisted living, independent living, memory care, respite care, day stay. Ask Randy O'Neill or Sierra Ward for more details. 206 594 1010. Also, I'd like to acknowledge that this community meets on the ancestral homeland of the Suquamish people, the people of the clear salt water, who have lived against the Salish Sea and on these waters since time immemorial. We honor them and we are learning from their stewardship. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I'm going to ask Diane if she would to just kind of get us started to talk a little bit about what the People's Choice Project is. It's been going on for a long time. It's a wonderful way to spend part of the 4th of July.
Well, thank you, Reed. Well, I think it's definitely one of the most popular events of the year for our club. It's a chance for our members to showcase their favorite photos, and we look forward to it every year. My only regret is that it's a one-day show, but that's just the way it is. And I just want to thank you, Reed, and all the people at the Bainbridge Island Community Center to make it possible to have this room. And you've always been so supportive and helped promote it, and it's a big part. So. Anyway, I would say this year was a huge success. We had 96 regular photos and 8 panoramas, which is the most we've ever had. I was a little bit concerned that we might not have as many because there were a few of our regulars that weren't going to be able to participate. So I said, well, let's go with 5 prints, and which was fine, but it was and I think it must have been a very hard choice for the People's Choice because there were so many wonderful ones. We had 23 of our photographers participate. Um, the we had, according to the voting cards, we probably had slightly over 800 visitors that came through, and probably 760 or so of those actually voted. So it was a very good turnout, and it's a lot of fun, and I thank everybody that participated, because without your help and all the volunteers that help bring it together is really important. So we plan to keep doing this. As long as we possibly can. It's I don't know how many years it's actually been in effect, but it's before my time, before I came on the scene. So anyway, I think
Okay, well, that's a
that's
great
it.
introduction. I'm going to show the screen. I'm going to put up the images from the show. These are now, as you said, there were many, many more, but and it's unfair in a way to have to choose the best, but these are the People's Choice. So you have to recognize also that they're images that that represent what? Not a professional's point of view necessarily, but I think this is a great cross section of some of the things I've seen from the club over the years.
Yeah, there's a lot of variety here.
So I know that Chuck is on. This is the first place award winner, Yosemite Valley. Chuck, do you want to say anything about this amazing shot?
Well, thanks, Reed. Yeah, if there were one place in the whole world I could go to take pictures, especially landscape pictures, and that was the only place I was ever allowed to go, it would be Yosemite Valley. To me, it's just one of those amazing places. This picture was taken from tunnel view, and if you've been there, it's one of the 2 entries to the park that are open year round. There's another one, highway or as Jane would say, the Highway 120, which comes over from the other side of the Sierra. This is, I did it in black and white as kind of a little mini homage to Ansel Adams. What appealed to me about the picture and what I was trying to do, this was taken in the early morning, about 8:30. And I had been up there for a few hours with my very patient wife, waiting for the right amount of sunlight and hoping that the clouds would hang around. And the clouds in the sky appealed to me. Their motion kind of circling El Capitan, and the clouds in the valley, which were just thick enough to allow a few trees to show through and to kind of make the trees in the bottom of the picture stand out. The other thing that I liked about it was what it showed. If you go around clockwise, there's El Capitan, and then you go further back, you can see just a little bit of Half Dome. And then coming in this direction, Cathedral Rocks, and then below Cathedral Rocks, it's not physically below them, but Bridal Veil Falls. And it's a great place to take pictures. And Tunnel View is, to me, one of the more amazing places to take pictures there. When I enter the park there, I'm always amazed by that first look. Kind of forget how great it is.
I have a question. I mean, this is just an outstanding photograph, so but the motion in the clouds, did you have a slightly longer exposure to get that, or was it because they're really cool?
Yeah, actually it was a storm coming in, and the clouds were really moving very quickly. The exposure was like 1/90th or 1/80th or something like that. So it
Well, it's
wasn't a
perfect.
super long, wasn't a super long exposure, but
Yeah.
it was it allowed those to blur just a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful photo, Chuck.
Thanks.
My word for it is wow.
Yes.
I mean, really.
Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you, Sheila. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else. Yeah,
Well,
that's-
it seems like it definitely is a great choice for the first place by the peoples.
And I think, I don't know if you can hear me, but I think it does remind me of Ansel Adams,
Oh yeah.
you know?
So the one thing I would say about visiting Yosemite Valley is we never go in the summer because there's so many people, and we always go in the fall and the winter, and that seems to work. Fewer people. Sometimes you get snowed in, but you can always count on weather, clouds, and fewer people.
Yeah, I think that's a Yogi Berra quote. It's so crowded, nobody goes there anymore.
Yeah.
That is a good
Yes.
Yogi.
Was
That's
this
good,
shot
I
in the
hadn't heard
fall,
that.
Chuck? Was it shot in the fall, Chuck, or is it the winter?
This was shot in late fall.
Mm.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, UA is not here, but this is the second place, Surprise.
Yeah, I know a little bit about, he let me know that he wasn't going to be able to attend. There's a little story behind this one. Obviously, it's just so, it just grabs you. It's so cute and just well done. But Bob and Dorothy and I had the honor of going to see UA, and he had a whole bunch of photos up, and he was trying to decide which ones back when he had his own exhibit. And we all just, or the three of us just went, oh my gosh, that's great. And he thought, really? So he felt it wasn't quite at the highest quality or something, but we convinced him that it was a winner. And so indeed it was. So this is a baby heron.
Mm.
It's, I've never seen one up close like that. So it's really fun. And Bob last year had a shot, wasn't it? 3 of them?
Yeah.
Bob, yeah, Nick's.
Adults
So,
and 2 kids, yeah.
yeah. So anyway, it's a popular topic.
Well, this just has such a sense of humor to it.
Mhm.
Yeah. When I look at this, it reminds me of, and I've said this before, how I felt when I found out my kids had driver's licenses.
He found out.
I found out,
I know they
yeah.
were keeping it from him, I guess. Jane, this is your piece. Third place, Moonrise over Blakely Harbor. There's a tie for third, but
Right. So first of all, I want to say again what an honor and a gift it is to be part of this talented group. And I want to begin with this image start by thanking Norm for suggesting this field trip last summer. Using photo pills, which he's an expert in, as we all know, he knew the exact time, location of the moonrise. And so I wouldn't have thought of, I wouldn't have known really about Blakely Harbor and that was going to be the ideal place to capture this. He also recommended the appropriate white balance setting, which gives this image a bluer tint, as opposed to more yellows and browns. And I spent quite a bit of time that night capturing the moon and its reflection in one exposure, and then layered that over the stunning night landscape of Blakely Harbor. And by the way, if you're up after midnight tonight, 12:54, you can view and photograph another full moon, which
Yeah.
is coming right tonight.
Well, Blakely Harbor is probably my favorite spot on Bainbridge, and I was so disappointed that I wasn't able to join you guys last summer. I don't know, maybe I was at the cabin or something, but anyway, this is just spectacular, and I'd like to have this on my wall.
It's
Thank you.
beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful picture, Jane. And I think there is a special name for the moon tonight. You know how sometimes full moons get names, but I can't remember what it is.
I believe it's Sturgeon Moon.
It is a
Yes.
sturgeon.
Oh, there you
It
go.
is
Yeah,
That's
it is
correct.
sturgeon. Moon. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Jane, I have a question. Way in the background, just curious, what is the red sign way in the background?
That is a good question, and I don't know. I could probably blow it up, zoom in and see if I can find out, but I don't know. It was obviously on the shore opposite, but I'm not sure exactly I don't know Seattle well enough and the surrounding area to be able to answer it. Maybe some of you who are more familiar know what it is.
Jane, that could be the radio towers and TV towers on top of Queen Anne Hill.
Okay.
There's like a series, there's several towers up there on Queen Anne. I suspect that's what that is.
Uh-huh.
It's not on Queen Anne. You're looking at West Seattle. So it'll be the same thing, radio towers on top of West
Oh,
Seattle.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
okay, this is Robin Glass, Mountain Moonset. So there's the other tie for third place. We've got a Mooney
Yeah.
third place.
And I will say that I was so honored to tie with Jane because I met her at the Port Ludlow Photography Club before I joined Bainbridge. And she's probably a little of the reason I went to Bainbridge after the other club closed. I also belong to KPG. But this is a view of Mount Constance from my home. I live in West Hallsbow and face the canal. And I have many, many views of this mountain portion of the mountain range with full moons in setting. And one time I was out and wow, the new moon took my breath away. And so I got my telephoto and my lens out and just took a number of shots that night as the moon was setting. So I have a series, as many of us photographers do, as the moon moves across behind the mountain. And this is the one I chose to show. I chose it specifically because it was a People's Choice exhibit. And I think that this relates to people in the Poulsbo, Kitsap region that do see the Olympic Mountains with various phases of suns and moon settings all year round.
Yes, and I love the clouds providing another
Mhm.
shape in there.
I often say that I need to have a few of these images on my wall for the days that I have visitors and it's all fogged in and you don't see anything. So I think this is going to go in my house eventually. I have never until this contest printed anything for a show. And so Diane's, encouraging me to join the group for this People's Choice galley was just the shot I needed to step out and do a little bit more photography.
Yeah, and I bet you're really glad you did, having two,
Well, I have to
place in the
thank you,
top
Diane.
10.
Yeah, right. I have to thank you. So,
That also raises the point that that increasingly a lot of photos are not ever being printed.
right.
But for this presentation, where obviously they're all hanging in Huni Hall for people to walk by and look at, they are printed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Robin, it's beautiful. And it's the new moon that makes it, resisting
I
the
agree, Chuck.
temptation
Yeah.
for, yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I'd done many full moon setting or sun setting, and I just that day when we moved here, my children were very, very young, and I was so afraid that they would become blasé to the beauty of our whole area, even though we took them hiking and everything when they were little. But even to this day in their 50s, they'll call and say, Mom, you must have a good sunset tonight, or you must have a good moonset or something. So I think I was successful in making them be really appreciative of the natural beauty of Washington State.
And the various shades of blue are
Mhm.
wonderful, and the depth of it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Beautiful, Robin.
thank you.
Yeah, it's an interesting combination of a flat aspect, but you can definitely see the layers at the same time, which makes it intriguing to look at.
Well, John Abernowski printed this for me, and I took him several images, and this was one I strongly wanted to have printed, but I was afraid it was too blue. And he said, "Oh no, that's very striking." So he also encouraged me, to take this as one of the selections I had brought to him for some input as to what would be a good one to print. So I thank him too.
Okay, next we have a Don Bacchus image, mine, fourth place. Don, I don't think is on today, but this is amazing, amazing capture for sure.
Yeah, Dawn sent me a little blurb because she knew she wasn't going to be able to make it. And most all of us know that Dawn is just a really excellent photographer, but her specialty is birds, and she really, excels at this. And she just loves it. And this was taken at Seebeck, and she just says every spring sculpins arrive at Seebeck to lay their eggs among the oyster beds and the beaches. And the eagles and herons have a great time feasting on them. And she mentioned that eagles are perfectly capable of catching fish themselves, but are always ready to take the easy way and try to steal another's catch. And that's what's happening in this picture. One eagle was forced another to drop its catch, and I was lucky to catch this photo at the time the fish was dropping. So it's a wonderful action shot and just so sharp, and yeah, it definitely deserving to be in the top 10.
I like her sense of humor because the mine comes from the seagulls in Finding Nemo. Mine, and she's got a little homage to Finding Nemo that I find really funny.
Yeah.
I really like how she cropped it. It really takes up the entire frame, and you know what the subject is. It's just beautiful photo.
Okay, and next we have Bob Rosenblatt's Orion.
And the Peter Iredale, yeah. In late April, Dorothy and I made a trip down to Astoria and had wonderful weather the whole time we were down there. And I think there's lots and lots of pictures of the wreck of the Peter Iredale down there at the state park outside Astoria. But I kind of had looked at photo pills and figured out that this was going to work out. What I didn't know was how high the tide would be. I could look at tide tables, but I didn't know how high up the beach the Peter Iredale was. The park closes at 10, and this was shot about 9:45. But it's a long exposure and just used a flashlight to illuminate the water and the Peter Iredale and stuff like that. And it just worked out luckily that the tide level was just perfect, being with the waves kind of being right amongst the wreck of the Peter Iredale. So.
And I love how you can see Orion up over in the left-hand side.
Yeah, this is, boy, you really timed it well, because I mean, getting those reflections in the water, it would just not be near the photo that it is, you know, if the tide had been all the way out. So
You
very
got
nice.
me looking up Peter Iredale pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at a lot of them that are online. This is the best one.
Thank you, Chuck. I know there's a lot of them online because it's a very accessible shipwreck. And fortunately, when the shipwreck, no one was killed. They all got off to the beach safely. But yeah, there's a lot of Peter Iredale pictures, and I was trying to do something a little different.
You definitely
Absolutely
achieved
beautiful.
that.
Stunning.
So
Yeah,
this is, just a question, this is not the Miss Carissa one that came out of Coos Bay, went out to sea and came back on about Astoria, right?
I don't remember actually where it originated. I don't remember. It was out there off the, I think it was probably trying to come into Columbia and missed, but I don't know where it originated from.
Oh, okay. You know the timing on it? Date?
It was
or
like
anything?
1906, I think.
Oh, it's a long time,
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jane Herzog's Dear Friends, spelled with E's.
Hmm. So I knew when I gave this print to my sister-in-law, who lives in Brazil, in April, and she said in Portuguese, what would be the equivalent of, "Oh, that is just so sweet," and she put her hand over her heart. I said, this might be a good one for the People's Choice on July 4th. Yeah, so my goal in taking any photos of people is to capture their essence and special moments in time like this. This is Samurai Joe, who was in his 80s then. He's now in his 90s, when this photo was shot in Deer Park in Nara, outside of Kyoto. And he was our guide, such an outgoing, knowledgeable man who takes great pride in sharing his country. And I believe all of us can relate to this kind of heartwarming interaction between humans and other humans, or humans and animals.
Yes,
Just-
it definitely pulls at the heartstrings, as they say.
It
It's-
just,
well,
I
so-
look at
it's
that, I
so
just feel so
lovely that,
happy
you know.
when I see this, a big smile.
Yeah, right. It's so lovely and gentle. It's
Mhm.
just lovely.
Yeah. it
Well,
is.
you can just see the vibes between the human and the deer. You know, there's definite communication going there, and catching that is quite an artistic skill, Jane.
Thank you.
This could be a travel poster for travel to Japan.
Well, I was in Japan at this very park in May of 23, and we were in the pouring rain. But when I saw Jane's picture, I thought, wow, that's exactly I mean, it just brought back so many wonderful memories because that is so authentic to that park.
Thanks.
Bob, this is another one of yours. This is Shadow Dancing, 7th place.
Yeah, Dorothy and I went on a photo workshop with Brian Peterson in June of 2024. And we had a couple models working with us for several days, and we were working in a house that they'd rented, or they had, rented for the occasion. And every day we walked up this stairway to go into the main part of the house. And I saw that stairway and the texture on the floors and the walls, and this is actually not part of the workshop. We were actually waiting for a DoorDash to arrive while we were on lunch break. And so I asked the model, Vicky, which in itself was a treat because Vicky's a Russian model, and getting to know her, the things she's gone through growing up in the southern part of Russia during the war in the early 2000s. Anyway, she was a real eye-opening. But anyway, I asked Vicky, could you come down here at lunch break? And so I posed this, or had her pose like this, and Dorothy was the one that pointed out how cool the shadows were. And I did it in black and white, partly at the suggestion of Diane. And also it kind of gives it a film noir look, I think. Anyway, I liked it, and I thought it was kind of graceful, but it captured the gorgeous stairway we just were walking by every day with kind of ignoring.
Well, what I find especially great in your story is just the vision that you had. You had an idea and you executed it, and I mean, with a great model. But anyway, this is just exquisite. I really
And the
love it.
position, the composition of this between the stairway that's turning and she who with the shadows is stunning. And there's motion in it, even though nobody's moving.
Yeah, and you've got motion sort of going up the stairs, it feels like, and then she's turning back the other way. So you end up with this, and of course she seems to almost be dancing there.
Right.
And perfect in black and white.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Norm, this is one of the great in the series of Turn on the Lights.
Yep, this is this photograph is McDermott, Nevada, which is just crossing the northern border from Oregon into Nevada, and there's really nothing there at this place. I got a chance to talk to this gentleman, and he's pretty much spent most of his lifetime here in this really small town. But I just saw this and figured it would be a good day tonight and snap the picture. So that's it.
Norm, I've seen a couple of your your images that you've done this with the lights and stuff. One of the things that I just love about this picture is the fact that you've got the man on the little white scooter with the white horse label on the building. And I worked a lot of times with people that were on scooters and things, and it just sort of brought, the fact that you may be changing your walking style, your running style, and now you're on a scooter, but man, life is still important. And I don't know, it just really touched me the first time I saw this at the Bainbridge Club.
Nothing like a reliable steed.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Until his battery runs out. But yeah, he was a very entertaining gentleman. He around the corner on the right hand side, he has a shop that he has rocks in. So
Okay.
yeah, very entertaining young man.
And I like that you have the lights in the trailer as well as sort of a what would you call it? Like an ellipses going off to the side of the photo.
Yeah, one of the things that I do is, obviously this is taken during the middle of the daytime, 1 o'clock in the afternoon or so, but one of the things I enjoy doing is I get to determine what lights I turn on, so I'll turn on, the bottom lights, some of the top lights, I'll figure out some place where, it needs a downward light over the veranda, turn on the sign, et cetera, et cetera. So that's one of the things I really enjoy in this. So, and that sky did come with, that's the sky that came with the photo.
Yay.
So this is a great day to night picture, Norm, like you always do. Although I can think of one dog who might be a little upset.
Well, I want you to know Pip was in another version of it off to the right, but I opted to not put her in this one.
Well, that's even worse.
That's right. Chuck likes your photos because it's the Where Waldo aspect of looking for
yeah.
Pip, I guess.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
very much
yeah.
so, yeah.
Okay, Bob, this is 9th place, Aurora over Lake.
Yeah, this was shot last fall outside Yellowknife. And Yellowknife was a surprisingly interesting place to go. And we had a good trip up there. It's a little rough and tumble. I didn't know that Northwest Territories in Canada are the third largest diamond exporter in the world behind Botswana and Russia. But anyway, this lake out here, it was just a splendid night. It was perfectly still. And on this photo, I was specifically going for the symmetry and stuff. And I just thought it was kind of cool.
Very cool.
Beautiful northern lights. Just amazing.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that must have felt like to be there.
Just to add into the ambiance, this was a night that we heard a pack of wolves howling in the distance.
Oh,
We were sitting out by the shore of the lake. It was like midnight or a little after or something, and we heard the pack of wolves going by in the distance. So kind of hard to beat that.
So one of the things that we've noticed with a lot of Northern Lights activity here on the island is it pops a lot more when I'm looking at it through my phone.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Is that similar in this experience for you?
The colors are more vibrant when you take a picture of it. I mean, you could see the colors, you could see the variations between the yellows and the greens and the purples and the reds. You could see it with your eye, but it's much more vibrant through the camera. The camera is just more sensitive than your eye. Yeah.
Do you find that
Different
animals, do you
What's
find
that?
that animals do react to this when this happens? I mean, like
I
like a
think
di-
they're used to it. I think
Oh.
yeah, I think they're just pretty much used to it. It's a common occurrence up there. I didn't ask the wolves. I mean, it's not to inquire.
What they were talking about.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I'm interested, Robin Glass, in
Yes.
this break time with a break time Berber caravan guide. So there's a story behind this, I'm sure.
absolutely. So I was on a tour to Morocco. This was in 2016. And I had just switched from a Nikon to Olympus OM mirrorless camera. And so I was carrying with me a 40 to 150 millimeter lens, which is something I hadn't had with my Nikon series. And I'm just a amateur photographer, not an amateur traveler, but we were on a camel caravan going from a main city to a caravan safari camp. And so halfway through they stopped, all of us got off the camels, and the young men, the drivers, they all went quite a ways away from us, tourists. And it just reminded me of, young men in all over the world. They finally have a little break time and they're just great friends. And I just was able to, because I had the telephoto lens, I was really to be unobserved observer, so to speak. And on this trip, I really got several really good pictures of the caravans and stuff. But this one struck me more as the human interest, that we're all alike all over the world. And they were just enjoying their break time as much as those of us off the camels were.
And the colors are great.
Yeah,
That's what I was just gonna say. Those
Yeah.
colors are just
Yeah.
amazing.
And the
Yeah.
expressions
Yeah.
there, even though
Well, they
some
were-
have their back, the ones that you can see,
Right.
and the fact that there are some that have their back to you, the
Yes.
angle, the fact
Yeah.
that they're on a hill, it just all comes together beautifully.
I usually feel very intimidated to take kind of street photography. I don't want to be imposing with people. So I think that having the telephoto lens with me that day, it was a zoom lens. And so it was on my camera. It was just easy to, wow, this is an everyday occurrence for these guys. And they were just enjoying their time and their friendship.
Robin, I think I really liked the people aspect of it, but the sand in the foreground and then the dunes and then the mountains in the background, it gives you a sense of place immediately.
Mhm.
Yeah, I that same day, from my hotel room, I'd gotten a really good picture of the camel caravans taking off to return back to the other city. And I've always loved that picture also, but I chose, because of the limit, I chose this one because of the human interest.
Mm.
Mhm.
Well
I-
done.
I like the faces. I like the guy with his chin in his hand.
Yes, I do
My
too.
eye went there right away. And then the guy off to the left, And then I started thinking about, what are these guys talking about?
Yeah,
Talking about you guys, Robin.
probably, yes. And we were over quite a distance from them, kind of talking about them too, so.
Yeah, right.
I almost thought it looked like there's a chess game going on, like the guy
Oh.
with the yellow
Oh.
turban is playing a game of chess with someone else, and the others are all pondering what's the next move gonna be.
I couldn't tell that part, so. Yeah. It
So
was only
Rob,
a 15-minute break, so they didn't have very much time.
so Robin, this is aside from the photo. What's it like riding on a camel?
It actually isn't too bad. The very first time I ever was on a camel, it was in India, and they were going to put two of us together. My husband was supposed to get on behind me, so they got me on, and all of a sudden the camel thought, nope, one person's enough, and stood up. And all I could think of at that time was, I am sure glad that I do a lot of, at the time it was called body pump. It was weightlifting choreography to music. And I mean, it struck me so like, oh my gosh, I'm going to fall off this camel. And finally they put my husband on a different camel because this camel was not going to get back down again. And yet I didn't fall off. And so that was part. It really isn't too terrible if you just get into their stride.
Okay.
We didn't race, so that was good.
All right. Advice for those listening, you need to come to Zumba Gold before you take your camel trip.
That's right, exactly. You got it, Reed.
Okay, and now we're going to go to the panoramas. We have two here. And this is Yue Lee's Farmer's Family. It was the first place.
Yeah. So Yue sent me a little blurb on this, and I says this photo was taken in the Shui, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, China. It literally means beautiful rivers, lakes. It's a region known for its scenic beauty and has inspired poets and painters for ages. Photographically, it was made internationally famous by Daniel Cordan, whose depiction of this won a few international awards. So my photo was taken during a workshop. We were led to the spot in the early morning before sunrise. The weather cooperated, a dense fog that made the distant mountains fade in and out, creating a washed out background that made the subjects pop. And it was taken with an 80 to 400 millimeter lens at 80 millimeters and at 1/500th of a second f/6.7, just if you're interested. But it's kind of, so they were basically trying to reenact this famous image that was made by this other guy, as I recall. So, and it was very popular. This particular panorama scored way higher than the second place. It was just,
Sorry, Bob.
I know. Well, you know what? He has too many anyway. I think we're not going to let you in the show next year, Bob. Anyway, it's so serene.
Yes, absolutely.
Gorgeous photo.
And here's the last one we're showing today. This is Bob's panorama. Homeward Bound.
Same trip to Astoria. Of course, everyone recognizes the Astoria Bridge, and we kind of splurged a little and stayed on a hotel right on the river. And I was kind of hoping for a foggy morning, and I think this might have been our last day there. We lucked out, and the fog was there just kind of covering the top of the bridge. And I saw this fishing boat coming back up the river and stuff, and I just kind of waited for it. And I kind of thought the panorama, with the bridge going off into the distance, into the fog, I just thought it kind of worked. And I just waited for the boat to get in the right position that I liked. So anyway, I thought it worked as a panorama.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Both of these winners also deal with that kind of foggy, soft, meditative experience. Anyone else have a comment about Homeward Bound?
I like it.
It's beautiful. Really
It's
nice. Beautiful.
You should put this up on your wall, Bob. I mean, it's it's a good sized panorama, and it's really pleasing. So, or you should have somebody else put it on their wall.
It seems like a canonical kind of Northwest kind of scene.
Yeah.
So Bob, did you, in terms of black and white, say a little bit about how that, is this,
This is actually
This is-
color. If you look closely, the boat has actually got a blue hull.
okay,
It's just with the fog, it was just real muted colors.
got it.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I like about it is that the longer you look at it, the richer the tones get because it does look like a black and white photo at first.
Mhm.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I want to thank you all for the work that goes into this show. I think of it as one of the things I always look forward to at the 4th of July. And I know it doesn't come off without a lot of work. So thank you.
Mhm.
And I also, if you want to know more about the Bainbridge Island Photo Club, they meet here at the Senior Community Center. biphoto.org, I believe, is the correct
Mhm.
website. So as always, thank you for bringing your images and thank you for showing up and taking the time to tell us a little bit about the story behind the pictures, because that is a delight for those of us who aren't regular photo club attendees.
Really.
Thank you,
You
Reed.
Reed, you do a nice job of herding us along.
Okay, have a lovely,
All right,
lovely
thanks,
afternoon.
everybody.
We'll see you
Yeah.
soon.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Friday.
so
Bye,
much.
thank you.